Oh my God, this dog is ridiculous. Hopefully, I have Chris Spawn. Yes, I do have Chris Spawn. Okay. What? Oh my gosh, they're crazy today. I mean, literally, I'm out. I'm really low on treats right now. So I'm going to, these are actually cheese and bacon chewies made by a local, a lot of the craft fairs that I go to. They do, would you hush? Hush. Thank you. Your brother gets one first because, yeah, he's not going to take anything until his sister gets one. There. Are you happy? No, you just want to sit there and cause trouble. Uh huh. That's all you want. You want to know what she wants. I have no idea. I don't have the treat she. Whoa, I do have Ritz crackers. So I can give her a Ritz cracker if all else fails. That will work. It's like Cheetos. I mean, you give them something like that and then they're happy. Yeah, that's what we want. We want a Ritz cracker. Okay, show everyone how you like your Ritz crackers. No, you're not going to have a Ritz cracker? No Ritz cracker? Okay, I'm going to put it there then. Okay, anyhow, aloha gang. It's Aloha Friday. No work till Monday. A dooby doo, a dooby 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 doo. Yes, exactly. I'm happy. It's Friday. I don't have any craft fairs this weekend, which means I get to go play games with friends tomorrow and Sunday, clean house, probably. But yeah. How are you all doing in chat? Okay, dog, you all can have a Ritz cracker too, not just Cassie. There you all go. And who do we have in? We have Cristola in chat who liked my little stuff here. Okay, we have. Okay, did you hit that thumbs up? You know the polls that you have in there. She liked my little comment over there. The third option was, I got a broken finger. And also, yeah, exactly. So, who else we got in chat? Kathleen popped in. Hello, Miss Kathleen. And who else? Oh, we're getting the words out and everything. We know YouTube takes a while to get the notifications out, so we got to give them time. What is seeing picture and having a son with his name is yeah. And you know, guys, I'm not going there's not been a lot of news with Caleb. However, believe it or not, right when I was ready to say there was nothing, there was a slight bit of a potential witness who is what I want to talk about today, along with a few other things. Um, but a lot of you guys know that feeling of having a child or a grandchild or a nephew or niece who's in college ages and they're off at college or they're getting their own apartment or stuff like that. And you don't have your hands on them at all times. And it gets so scary because so much can happen. I mean, I have my own niece. I have three nieces, and all of them are on the mainland. And so it's crazy. So who else do we got? We got Roberta just popped in. Hello, Roberta. And Grateful Middle-Aged Cat Mama, you're here too. See, we got the Grateful Middle-Aged Cat Mama and the Grateful Middle-Aged Dog Mama. So it works. So, but yeah, I don't want to stop covering him, but I also don't want this to turn into speculation, okay, overload, which is unfortunately what often happens when there's no updates. But we also need to keep his face in the public eye because I think what's really worrying people right now, and yes, Cristola, you thank God you have yours living right there with you on the land with you. Yeah, I know my mom is thankful that I live here with her. And also, but go the dogs. But as time goes on, there are more. We talked about this on Wednesday, and what I want to do is cover the things that we didn't quite get to on Wednesday. Um, Especially with Caleb. There's so many possibilities out there. We've talked about the possibility of did he meet up with someone that he thought he would be able to date, whatever. Oh yes, my dogs are my dogs are oh my god, everything. They're actually yeah, they're my kiddos. So I know what you mean. I know what you mean when you talk about being a cat mama. These are them and my bird, my African gray, who usually would normally be back there, but he's not back there because he would literally overtake the whole live. He'd be sitting there whistling, talking, and all that like crazy. So, but here you go, Cassie. You want to come to mommy? You want to say hi to everyone? Say hi. Cassie, stop growling at everyone. Okay, take your treat. Go for it. Oh my, she is totally a diva Peta. That's all she is. Oh, and there she goes again. And also, but yeah, no, the thing right now is, did he meet up with someone that he thought maybe would be a possible friend or relationship for him? That's a possibility. There's also so many. We went over them. Okay, could someone have hit him and then gotten scared and hidden the evidence? Trafficking, guys. I know we tend to think about trafficking as a women thing, okay, for females. No, it's not. It really honestly is not. And I think what's happening now with the family in this case is there have been so many searches in the area, so many searches that they're like, okay, we have searched everywhere. If you remember, okay, at one time we had San Antonio search and rescue. Okay, and we had Nina from that searching, and they pulled out. Family has been like, yeah, I think you've searched everything. There are so many other people for also, and we don't want to take you away for things like that. So you're finding that the search is spreading outward. And as the search goes outward into like San Antonio, other areas around, there are heavier chances that things such as trafficking or, okay, something that we don't like to think about is happening here. And the only way we're going to find him in those cases is to get his face out everywhere. So let's do this real quickly. While we've got people coming, I'm going to bring this up because what has popped up today, what I came across today, is a possible witness that we haven't heard about. Let me ask you guys in chat real quick, okay? Let's see what you guys are thinking about in chat. Um, how many of you guys have heard about a witness potentially seeing Caleb at 3:40 a.m.? Put a 1 in chat if you have heard about that. Put a 2 in chat if you have not. And let me give it, I know I got to give, because of CC, it takes a little longer for me to catch up to you and vice versa. So I'm going to take a drink. I'm on coffee cup number 2 today. So, and then I got my water and my Coke Zero. But I've got here, okay, this is a Google Earth that I came up with to try to look at a couple things that are popping up now because of, okay, 2. Okay, so see, I wasn't the only one who had not 1. Kathleen had her, okay, perfect. Okay, so we got a little half-half so far going on here. What started had 2 from Roberta, perfect. Okay, family have been coming out, as many of you guys know, okay, a couple weeks ago or a week or 2 ago, the family had connected in with a gentleman who was kind of helping out on a PR level, okay, helping with speaking up and stuff like that about what was going on. Trying to look at how can we, especially if he is no longer in the vicinity, how can we push the story further out, go national versus regional. One of the things he's been doing is going on to TikTok and trying to update everyone. He's aiming for like weekly to give updates on Caleb's case. And let me check real quick. Do I have it? Yep, I got Caleb's picture up here. Let me just first, before we go anywhere, show you guys who we're talking about. We're talking about Caleb here. Okay, Caleb is the college student who went missing from Corpus Christi, Texas A&M Corpus Christi campus. So as many of us know, we had gotten this down to a very short time frame from when he was last seen to when he went missing. What is popping up now is we are hearing that a witness has come forward, and I'm not sure the time frame of when he came forward. It looks like this is something that police have known about, family have known about, and all that. Here's a vote. Yep, 348, 340, 330. I'm hearing different times with it, but this is a gentleman who has been working, okay, early morning shift for almost a decade. I mean, forever. And you know what? When you work a job for years and years, you get to the point where you can drive to work with almost even thinking because everything is so routine. Okay, the routine is, okay, usually the left lane is really, really busy, so I'm gonna be in the right lane, and then I cut over here at this time because it clears up, and it becomes very, very routine, yeah? Well, what ended up happening in this case is one morning, as he's driving over, the morning that Caleb went missing, he was going underneath this one underpass, and we're gonna pull it up on the map in just a second. And he saw a gentleman who looked just like Caleb, walking a small dog, a dog who looked just like Jenny, the dog that we saw in the video, okay, that is put out, okay, with him and his friends taking the dog out to go to the bathroom and stretch her little legs and all that. Um, that was around 3:40 in the morning. Now, location wise, let's take a look at this real quick. And then as soon as we're done with this, we're also going to go into talking about Veronica and Jillian, go through some of the updates. But anyhow, this is where he lived. This is the area where, hello, Ramblin', how you doing, my dear? We're doing some real quick updates on Caleb because there's a new possible witness, actually. And also, Caleb lived here at 1900 Ennis Jocelyn Road. Okay. If you remember right, and I've just thrown this in just to throw it in, okay, because it was important at one point, that inaccurate ping that we talked about at 3:12 a.m. came from this area right over here. Now, remember, please don't forget, police are saying they don't think that was an accurate ping. Okay, remember, phones just ping out to the first available, okay, tower they can reach. And this gentleman who said he was driving said he saw someone resembling Caleb, okay, under this overpass. Here's your highway, and you've got a okay road going right underneath here. He saw a man resembling Caleb at 3:40 a.m. walking a dog that looked like Jenny under this area. Now, could that be him? Could it not be? There's different thoughts. Okay, police do know about this. The question did pop up. Did police know? Did family know about this? Yes. And police have looked into it. Family say they do believe this is a valid witness. Now, we don't know. I'm not sure when he popped up or anything like that. But let's go back to this. There's where he was. So he left the house, started walking. Okay. His Uber Eats arrived at 3:20. Now, if someone, and I'm just going to throw this out, guys, because these are the things I'm sure the police are looking into. If this is a valid witness, and at 3:40, someone saw him right over here walking a dog, that dog got back to the house somehow. I don't know what that means. I don't think any of us know that what that means. We are recognizing a couple things here. There are actually two doors to his house. Okay, there's the front door and the back door. The Uber Eats was actually dropped off at the back door. The door that they used to walk out for the dog and stuff like that was actually the front door. So I don't know. I'm not sure what this means. Okay, what we're looking at this point. We've also heard some potentials about, and I am comfortable talking about this now because Tony and the family have addressed the fact that there is a Reddit account. Okay, not sure how many of you guys have heard about the Reddit account going on, but that Caleb, there's an account that is believed to be Caleb's. We have not verified that's Caleb's account, but the police know about this account and they know about the messages where this person, okay, who they believe to be Caleb, was asking to meet up with someone. okay, at the beach or whatever on that level. So could he have been planning to meet up with someone that night? That's another option out there. There's a lot of different options out there right now. We do know the family, what they're thinking at this point is that he he's somewhere other than local. That's what it comes down to right now, is somewhere other than local. So that gives us some idea of where we are. The search is moving further outward. We'll have a better idea what goes on. I know a lot of you have been looking at the shorts and the videos I've done on Caleb and talking about making sure that we don't drop this case and stop looking at what's happened with him because we need to get his face out further and further. So I wanted to make sure to address that today. So that's where we are with Caleb right now. So let's slide us over to Veronica and Jillian. A lot of us have been doing that. Let me change this picture and see if my dogs would stop barking. Please, baby girl, please. Thank you. And okay. So let me do this and change out our information here. So over the last week, we've seen a lot happening with Veronica and Jillian. Okay. I mean, it's too much to even put on one thumbnail as I was trying to go over. So what I wanted to do is come together as all of us and just kind of look at what is happening, get some better idea as to what is going. We're hearing talk of, for example, is there a fifth person involved? Okay. I do have to say, this 16-year-old who spoke up, I said this the other day, she she's a hero. I mean, how many 16-year-olds do any of us know who are willing to stand up and speak up against, okay, people we love, knowing this is what's right? This girl has done that. And I mean, she's been amazing at what she's done with that. So let me bring up, we're going to go through a couple things. And what I want to do is start with where they found them. Okay, this was some of what we were going to go through on Wednesday and ran out of time. So how many of you guys are continuing to follow Veronica and Jillian's case? And let me know what you guys think in chat right now about, especially about we're going to talk a couple things, the judge involved in this as well as this fifth person. This fifth person I'm still kind of confused on, and I wanted to see what people are thinking about right now. But while we're doing that, let me pull this up so we can start looking at what we have here. So you do. You, I'm not to toot my own, but mine will be in a heartbeat. Aha, Roberta does believe. Yeah. You know, there's something, I don't know. I don't know. No one seems to know. I found it very interesting. I'm just going to play this. Okay. We had, woohoo, look at people in the hat. Yay. Hey, oh, hey, Ramblin', how you doing, my dear? Would you stop it? Okay. So this is where they ended up finding, hey, Click and Go, how you doing, my dear? So this is, and I'm not playing the audio on this. I just wanted to bring this up. As many of you guys know, when we went through the paperwork and all, they ended up tracking exactly where both Veronica and Jillian were, thanks to the phones, the burner phones that Tiffany had bought. Okay, as the 16-year-old went and reported and told the police everything she knew. And they were able to then track phone numbers and all that and get an idea, okay, where these phones had been. And they were tracked exactly to the area where the murders took place, and then was able to follow people to the actual place where the bodies were then buried. And we have now heard that the bodies were buried 10 feet deep, and then straw put on top of them. They were basically doing everything in their power to make sure that no one would ever find these people. Okay, the land did not belong to any of the four people that were arrested, but was leased by Tad Cullen. Let's see, Ramblin'. Let me switch over here. So They thought they were being slick with the burner phones. Yep, that's exactly. They thought, oh, you know what? We'll have these phones. They're okay. No one will be able to track us. Okay. We read all of these news stories all the time about people using burner phones, so they must be easy to not track. Or no, they're basically what people don't realize is a burner phone is a normal phone, guys. It does everything. You find out what that phone does. Hey, you know what? They're going to track you down. Okay. Anything that you've texted, any pictures you've done, video, all those things is there just like any other phone. And so the day all this was going, joy, 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 joy. Thank you, my dear. You can't hear it. Wrigley is barking. Actually, it's Pia barking saying thank you. And, Joy, thank you so much. Got it. Roberta got the yes. Thank you. Thank you on behalf of Roberta to Joy. Thank you, my dear. And we definitely got through here. Here, let me go back. Let me actually go a little bit further ahead so you guys can see this, and then we'll go through. So this is what it looked like during the day. And the day that they were out there were actually people in some of the groups that live fairly nearby. And they were saying, hey, I'm watching all this happening, okay, over at my house right now. In fact, they were sharing pictures and all. And I was just like, oh wow, this is coming down right now. So what I want to do next is show you guys. I'm going to switch us over to a different video, and we're going to watch some of this where they are actually sharing with us what that area looks like at night. So we finally got some people into the area at nighttime. Okay, here we go. And News Nation has been killing it on this coverage. I mean, they really have been covering this amazingly. In the bushes, how you doing, my dear? And so
It's
let's
dark
go
out here,
ahead.
so bear with.
Whoops. So we're going to start this in just a second. But basically, in this case, okay, we've got him out there. This is right in the area. So Tad Cullum actually was leasing this land from the Beasley family. Okay, Beasley family totally innocent in this. That was one of the things that when we got the paperwork, a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, you know what? What's going to happen? I mean, every name listed here, are they innocent? Are they guilty? Whatever. It's freaking pitch black there. Exactly. I mean, he even talks, you can see lights going on behind him. Those are windmills. That's energy windmills going on behind him right now. I mean, could you see this area? Okay, we know they did all this during the daylight, but think about how rural it is, how out in the middle of nowhere it is that they literally could do this stuff in the middle of the day and no one had any ideas. Yes, in the bushes, bad girl coming late. Cooter's not here yet either. So hey, you're early. You're early at this point. So and also okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start this so we can watch a little bit of this and give you an idea of the actual land itself. Hey Tim, how you doing, my dear? Aloha and welcome and happy Aloha Friday. And also here we
With
go. Whoops.
me,
Here we go.
but
There.
this is the area where the
And
missing
be
women were found. This is the
huge. Yeah.
spot. You remember in the police report they mentioned a dam. This right here, this buildup of dirt. This is the dam.
So there's the dam that they were talking about. And yeah, 10 feet deep. I don't know. Okay, I have a gut. I suspect they probably even have backhoes and stuff like that involved. I mean, this is farmland. They had the equipment for it, and people probably would have looked over from yards and yards away, quite a ways, and just thought, oh yeah, they're doing something. Okay, they're building something, or they're putting a new whatever it is that their idea here, though, was to take this bit of land and make it look like any other part of the farm. The idea of the hay, because basically they dug 10 feet deep, okay, thinking that would be deep enough to, okay, make sure no one, well, they forgot that they were having phones that were going to give it all away. And then after they filled all that back in, they put all the hay on top of it in hopes that cattle would then come over on top of it and kind of just do what cattle do, spread the straw, start doing everything that they needed to do to make it look like a normal area.
There's a pond on the other side, and if you walk with me this way, just about 50 feet or so, maybe a little more from the
Brian is
dam,
amazing.
you can see where the earth is disturbed, where the tractors were out here. This is where investigators came. They dug right in this area, went down about 10 feet, I'm told, and this is where they discovered
Yeah.
the missing mom's bodies. If you look in the distance there, you can see there is a pile of hay back there.
So there's the hay we're talking about right there. So you've got the dam on one area, you've got the hay that they've now moved away from the area. And yeah, Ramblin', God bless him, he is out. This is not South Beach. This is not tropical area and all that. This is anyone who's been in Oklahoma, Texas, areas like this. This is not, I mean, the wind gets blowing, it gets hot, it gets all that. It's just nuts. Hey, Sleuth, how you doing, my dear? And there's a lot going on at this time over in that. Like cattle come over to, yeah, animal. There is no death. Yeah, exactly. Well, and the whole idea is they wanted it to look normal. And what's scary is if it had not been for those phones, could they have gotten away with it? Okay, if it hadn't been for two things, those phones and a brave 16-year-old. If that 16-year-old had never come up and said what happened, okay, what she had heard, what her mom had asked her to do in cleaning up the car and all, that girl is amazing. That girl's got a lot to deal with. Pray for her, honestly. Pray for her or think about her and stuff like that because her future of trying to deal with all of this. Thank God she's got her own father that she can lean on for the rest of her life and all. But it's just, oh, so let's go back to this.
I am told by sources that hay was moved over the area where the digging happened. That Tad, the suspect Tad, moved that hay over here
Yeah,
to
Roberta.
cover up the area where he was digging, hoping that the cows, this is there's a cow farm here, that the cows would come over, this is a ranch, and start feeding on the hay and make the area.
Scary. But I can tell you this right now. I'm not saying there is or there isn't, but any group of people who can come so lackadaisically together and not only sentence one woman to death, but a second woman who was doing nothing other than sitting there trying to help things happen smoothly. Anyone who's able to be that evil, on top of that, they had a whole community who was scared to speak up. I'm sorry, but is there the possibility? I'm not saying yes or no, but you know what? There's always a possibility. They had a full plan. Yeah, they had a proof plan, minus one freaking brave 16-year-old who was able to do and say what other people could not. Because as we know from this, if everything in there is true, there's at least that fifth person, okay, Paul Grice, who may have known what was going on. Okay, did he pop up and speak? We still don't know what's going on. Okay, just because he's mentioned in it doesn't mean he's guilty, guys, and we got to remember that. We do have to remember. But it's definitely scary. You know, click and go, I may be wrong on that. I think what she's talking about more is kind of like the idea, hey, you know what? If people are willing to go after people who are in their way once, are they willing to do that more than once? Especially when you find a group of people like this who are so easily, yes, dog, are so easily willing to do something like this. Okay, probably in all reality, probably not, but it's just, yeah. Last time you had to renew your driver's license, it was in Oh, was it tag agency? Went into Colorado, realized it had expired, had to drive back to Oklahoma. That was wow, rambling. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, So we'll see. Here we go.
area look less suspicious. But still, investigators were led to this spot. And again, this is the area right here where they started digging and they found the bodies. Remote area, Ashley. Very, very difficult to get to. Again, you go down the dirt road and then you have to walk all the way out there. There's really not much out here at
What,
all in
8
any of these
miles or
areas of
something is what
western
I heard?
Oklahoma.
Or am I
But
recalling
cattle
that
land and
correctly?
ranches
I
and
think I read
windmills, by
something
the way.
like
If you
8
see the
miles.
blinking red lights behind me, if you're wondering what those are the windmills. At night, they have these blinking red lights on them. I almost thought it was an airport at first. So
Yeah.
nothing out here but windmills and cows, Ashley.
So tell me about the adjoining
Okay. So I'm going to stop there because I got a lot of little videos I want to go through today, and a lot of them are going to be repetitive. So I'm trying to cut out the repetition on many of them. And, but yeah, there's actually, Sleuth Mom is saying, click and go. It just came together so easily. If anyone else connected to them ever went missing or moved away and never was heard again. Yeah. I think that's the thing. Is this the type of group of people that if you ever pissed them off and you did not fall in line and toe the line with them, would this be their solution to things? Or was it just the fact that Tiffany wanted these kids so badly that she was willing to do something they normally would never think of? Okay, I mean, to be able to talk 3 other people into something like this, possibly a 4th other person into something like this, I mean, there's a lot of manipulation going on there. There is a lot of potential fear tactics involved in that. Um, I mean, literally, could you see coming together on a game night since I game? Okay, since I love to play games, coming together on a game night with my friends and coming up to people and saying, you know what? This lady is really upsetting me and now she wants to do this. I think we should do. My friends would literally look at me and be like, girl, what's the hell wrong with you? Okay, you're not invited to play games with us anymore. That's literally what my friends would be like. And yeah, it does seem town was very scared of them. But what's been interesting to see is how the relationships and all have gone. In fact, I've noticed at first when the idea of the 5th person was going on, a lot of people were saying, oh, I don't know him, I don't know him. Now people are saying, oh yeah, I know him and he's a real good guy, I just can't see him, give him. And yes, guys, we have to give people, okay, a benefit of the doubt. Let the police have done a damn good job in this case. Okay, if there's a reason why this guy, because he was, and we're going to hear more about this in a bit, but he was arrested, okay, and questioned, and he was let go. So something happened there. Either he had an alibi, or who knows? For all we know, maybe he was one of those people who sat down and she's like, I want to do this. And he's like, oh, hell no, and walked the other direction. Now, if he did that, I still, just myself, I'd be like, well, why the hell aren't you speaking up when you notice these women go missing? But you know what? That's a different, there's different things going on there. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about that as the case progresses. And maybe they just need to still gather more information. I don't know. Police, I think, do have that down, though, for sure. I think there is also the whole thing about sanity. Okay, there's going to be a lot to figure out. I don't know if that's what you were meaning there. People are like, okay, could they claim an insanity defense or something like that? I think that this was way too planned. This was way too planned. Now, if anything, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this part of it, his brothers went, oh, that one I hadn't caught on to yet. Ooh, interesting, interesting. Out of all the people that have been arrested, all but one of them are getting private lawyers. And the one who's not getting private lawyers, and we'll come back to this in a second, she's asking for public defender. Very interesting considering she's married to someone who's getting a private lawyer. What? Why? Something doesn't mesh there, and I'm not sure what it is quite yet. We'll get to that when we get to that point. However, let's go ahead now and switch us over to the next area, which let me do this. Okay. So The next one, what I wanted to do is take you through. This is let me pull it up to kind of go through what happened on the day. So we had 4 people arrested during this time period. And I have to say, Thea, I love you, my dear. I hope you're doing good, my dear. And I love you. And this seems to be one of the craziest court dates I've heard of. And amazing to consider this is happening in a teeny, teeny, tiny little town. Okay. You hear teeny tiny little towns in the United States and you think, oh, yeah, safe little small town. Well, here you've got 4 people coming in for arraignment and all that. And you hear people saying, oh, yeah, I was not allowed to have my Apple Watch on when I went in. They had handheld, okay, metal detectors. I'm wondering if they even had metal detectors in the courthouse there, to be honest, because of how small it was. I'm really wondering about that. Is that why they had to bring in handheld stuff? They had security drones up above. Okay. They had people were having to take their jackets off. Lawyers, as they walked in, were being told, nope, you got to have your jackets off. You can't have hoodies. Brian Enton was told, you can't have your hoodie on. You got to take your hoodie off. You can't wear it inside. If you were a lawyer, you were allowed to put back on your jacket. Okay. But those were the only people allowed to wear jackets. Okay, this level of security in this place was crazy. What do you guys think? Who was the security more for? Honestly, this is the first time in my life. Usually I think about security being for the defendant, but this is in one of those cases. I wonder if they also were like, well, you know what? Could the defense be throwing out something, or maybe we just need to protect anyone who comes into that whole place right now? I mean, because if seriously so many people were scared to speak up locally, is that a potential? What's your guys' thought in chat about that one? Because it was security overload in this area. So let's go ahead and listen to this. We also were able to get um, a lot of emotion going. So no cameras in the courtroom. Okay, none whatsoever. Not even a pool camera was allowed in there. Um, and it was tiny from what we're hearing, really tiny room. And as the defense walked in, these 4 people walked in, you had people in their family, friends, cussing them out. You had Veronica's dad launching himself at the people who killed her, at the people who took her life. I mean, it just, yeah.
Yeah, it was tense. It was emotional, Elizabeth. It was really like hearing like I've never been to before. Starting outside, security was so tight. There was a police drone up. There were snipers on the roof. There were metal detectors outside in the parking lot, handheld metal detectors where they checked every single person. You couldn't bring in
Wow.
electronics. I couldn't even wear my hoodie inside. They made me take my hoodie off. Once inside the courtroom, it was a very, very small space. The last 2 rows were filled with the victims' family members, about 24 of them or so. And when the
24 people. Okay, take a small room. Take a small room where you barely have room. But you've got 4 people who are coming. Hey, patriotism. Hello, my dear. Okay, you've got the small room where you got 4 defense people in there. Okay, all there, none of them have lawyers yet. We are going to talk about that part in a few minutes, but none of them that, but you've got 24 people whose lives have been forever changed by this. And they're in that close of connection. Think about when you get pissed off at someone, when someone hurts you so badly, okay, and you're brought that close to that other person, the
suspects
emotions.
came in, they were very, very angry and emotional, and they were saying things out loud that you could hear in the
Very
courtroom. I
true.
wrote some of these things down. When suspect Cole Trumbley came in, Veronica's dad audibly called him a bastard. When Tad Cullum came in, he said, sorry, ass piece of you know what. And when Grandma Tiffany came in, he said, effing B, who killed my daughter. And then they actually had to restrain him. His family members had to hold him back, hold Veronica's dad back, because he was trying to lunge towards the suspects. All of this happening as the hearing was underway. We spoke to Veronica's aunt outside.
Yeah, everyone, we got this interview in a second, but every one of them had to come in, which I kind of, yeah, with this level of what happened, I could definitely see bulletproof vests because their lives are in danger right now. Okay, it's one of those things that I mean, I don't know what the prison's like where they are, the jail's like where they are right now, but I hope they are okay in some level of solitary or protective custody or something like that because yeah, they are in danger right there. Do I care? Really? And but yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. But these family who are sitting there, this is the first time that they've been able to see these people who ruined their lives, okay, and destroyed the lives. Again, remember, 6 children who now have no parent. No, I don't have their mother. Okay, 2 families who are going to have to raise these children, okay, and try to be mom and dad or mom and grandma and all those things. Yeah.
Right afterwards. Take a listen. First of all, I'm so sorry for everything you've been through, and just that courtroom was so small. I can't imagine you guys were just so close to them. I mean, what was that like?
You know, to hold my brother back from jumping, there's just too many emotions, so much anger. I don't understand how somebody can hate somebody so much that you want to kill him. My niece did not deserve that, neither did the young lady with her. She was just there to help her. We didn't deserve this.
So all of that was happening inside
This family who came together and had to deal with that as they were, and he tried to get a couple other people. I remember there was a longer version of the interviews where he tried to get others, and it's just the emotions were too high. And then also, I'm not sure if this is the video that has it, but those who are related to the 4 people who were arrested and their emotions, because they're not to blame, okay, for the actions of these assholes. Okay, but they themselves have to deal with knowing that they knew someone who could do stuff like this. And it may not be anything like the person they knew. Okay, think about this poor 16-year-old who had to stand up and go tell police what she heard. She's literally having to say these things about her mom, who I guarantee you she loves and adores and should love and adore. Okay, every child should be able to love and adore their parents. And it's not always true, but they should be able to. And for all of a sudden, she's having to come to terms with what they did, while at the same time, and all these, okay, cousins, nieces, nephews, things like that, who are having to deal with this now. Okay, come to terms with the fact that the people that they used to have Thanksgiving dinner with are cold-blooded killers. And
Elizabeth, and then when we came outside, there was a large crowd out in the parking lot, including suspect Tad Cullum's sister, who started shouting that he would never hurt a woman. So you can just imagine emotions on both sides. Again, I've never really seen anything like that in a courtroom before, Elizabeth.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
I would love to see these 4 people, look at them on a psychological aspect. Okay, take a real psychological study of them. Tiffany, for example. Okay, what is the manipulation like? No problem, Ramblin'. I love you, my dear. I know my hours do not work with you guys whatsoever, does it? This was just very unnecessary. Exactly. Basically, what this comes down to is a grandma who saw that she was losing the children that she'd been kind of raising for a few years here. They were never her children to raise. They were her son's children to raise. Okay. She ended up raising them because he was not, is what happened. Okay. And yes, it sounds like she was pretty manipulative even with him. But it would be interesting to see what are the psychological aspects that are involved here. We know there's manipulation like crazy. Okay, we're talking about a cult mentality here too. Who really is the leader? What? Let me know in chat, guys. Who do you think is the leader of this cult? We keep talking about this cult. Okay, who's the leader of it? Because every leader has, every cult has a leader. Is it Tiffany? Is it Tad? I'm thinking myself, it's got to be one of those two. Um, is it Tad and Tiffany just had him so manipulated on this other level that he was able to then push on the other side? Or is she literally that ringleader? And Cristola thinks it's grandma that is the leader of this group. Because this group is, you were going to say grandma too. See, I'm not sure. I'm hearing a lot about Tad being extremely well off. I'm also, though, hearing that this is the difference that I am hearing. I'm hearing a lot of people saying Tad, they're giving him some positive attributes. I am not hearing positive attributes about Tiffany. If anything, I hear about controlling and manipulation and stuff like that. Okay. Hey, Seteri, is it? And welcome. What did she really? Good question. What was her? Was it truly that she had found herself connected to the children because she had raised them, and all of a sudden she saw? Because we do know that she most likely was, these children were going to go back to Veronica. Okay, Veronica was going to be seeing them. Okay, she had a court date this week where she was hoping to get more visitation, with that being that next step towards having them full time herself. Okay, we know Dad wasn't going to be able to do it because Dad was in rehab. Dad was in jail and then rehab and all this stuff. So Veronica, if she was able to, sorry, puppy wants mama's attention. If mom was able to, okay, Veronica was able to give them a stable, okay, lifestyle. She had gotten married. They had a stable lifestyle together. And I think grandma probably knew pretty quickly, oh shit, I'm going to lose him. And you know what? I have been so mean, for lack of a better word, to her all these years, because it does not sound like she was trying to make things easy at all. This was a pretty adversarial type relationship. So was she starting to think, oh, well, you know what? I bet you I'll never get to see these kids again, and da 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 da. Grandparents, unfortunately, don't always have rights. Okay, when it comes down to these things, whether they should have rights or not. I'm just saying in general. What was that? I just saw someone say click and go, perfect wording. Here it is. It's definitely grandma. Her hatred drove her motivation to steer people into her objective. And I could see that totally. I think she had him really well under her control. And then the others, okay, if she was in lead over this whole thing, most cults have different levels to them. Okay, and this one had a lot. She is very controlling. That's one thing we kept hearing about. Even Wrangler was saying, wait, if Wrangler truly did not know what his mother was up to, thankfully he was in a rehab when he got the news. Yeah. Oh yeah, because I just think about these two kids just on that side of the family who have now had everything ruined. We have one little girl whose birthday will always be tied in with the loss of her mother. And it's all because her grandmother was selfish. And And it's just, oh, yeah, exactly. So let's see what we got. I like what you said about men and women. Hey, I like you. This is a good group of peeps. I like our good group of peeps here. Okay, let me go back
Amazing.
to this.
Also, yesterday on this show, you had an interview with a local judge who was friendly with one
Okay,
of the.
actually, I'm going to stop that there because we got a better article coming up on that. So that's where the court date. Now, the next court date we know about is a status hearing on May 15th. I suspect on May 15th we're going to have things keep getting, but we'll find out about lawyers. Okay. This is going to get interesting. I mentioned this a few minutes ago. Out of these people, I'm happy you were able to make it, by the way, my dear. And Cetera, I would imagine that something was going on while the grandma had them that would not be going when the kids went back with mom. That's, yeah, possible. And it'll be interesting to see. I think if there are things on that level, the children are safe now. We don't know where they are, but we have to trust. And I think the family, okay, their other grandparents, aunties, uncles, and all that, they're going to be making sure those kids are safe. They're going to make sure those kids, okay, are in a place where they're getting care and they're getting love, care, supervision, all those things that they need to be able to move forward until wherever that is. And we don't know if that's with family or whatever at this point. But what will happen, I hope, is that they're getting some level of, whether it be therapy or people are talking with them to find out what all was happening. And on that, most likely will come out. If there was something worse, we'll see more charges at some point, and which will be interesting. And yeah, when you get feelings, you hold them, and oh, thank you, patriotism. Let me know what's going, and give them my emails for sure. And also, yeah, please, Father, take care of those babies. And but remember, Dad, in the case of the two kids, is in he's in rehab right now. Okay, so where do they go next? Is it with maternal grandparents or stuff like that? Those are the things that will have to be looked at that point. And that's where we have to believe in our system to make sure those kids are being taken care of, because they're loved. They're loved. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. But the 15th will be popping up before you know it, May 15th, less than a month now. And they're going to have that status hearing. At that time, we're going to be seeing these 4 people, okay, returning. There may be lawyers, because remember, at this point, we don't have any lawyers involved at this point. So let me go ahead and bring this next video up. Sadly, it's really 7 kids' lives all. Yeah, I pray that they are safe. Yeah, we're thinking about the 6, actually 8, because when you read the paperwork, okay, they mention the 16-year-old and her brother. So there's another child that did not have to speak up or anything, but who just lost at least one, if not both parents, because I don't know if the brother is connected to both Twomleys or just one of them. That I don't know. And that's not necessarily up to us to know, but it is for us to pray for. And also, let me see. Let's go over to here. Okay. So in this one, we start to get some information about our 5th person. Okay, as most of you guys know, we heard about this Paul Grice. Okay, this 5th person mentioned by the 16-year-old who was involved in the planning, all of these things. However, this person was not arrested. Now, guys, if a person isn't arrested, there's a reason. We have to believe that. We have to believe there's something that's happening there. We don't know the whole story. In the same way, we did not know the whole story the day before all this broke. Okay. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe there is a plea deal. Maybe there is an alibi. Maybe he only knows this, but who knows? And let's go ahead with this one real quick. I think that's where, yeah.
What is the story with that mystery fifth man, Paul Grice? He is listed all throughout the affidavits by the teenage daughter of the Twombleys who were arrested and charged with the murder. She says that Paul Grice was present for the planning. Paul Grice was allegedly there for the killings. But Paul Grice is nowhere to be seen and hasn't been arrested. Did that neighbor know him or know anything about him?
He does. He knows him, and he knows him well. He is actually Paul Grice's landlord. He's his landlord, Ashley, and he was his employer at one time. So we know.
I'm going to stop this real quick because this was just brought up by Crystal and a couple people about how what is scarier, that the children lived with these people, Tiffany and all, or that they could be in the system right now. And we do know the system has good moments to it and the system has bad moments to it. It has both. And the one thing that's giving me hope, guys, and I wanted to share this when I saw you guys talking about it, is Veronica's dad and her aunt. We saw her aunt being interviewed there. They are not going to let anyone hurt those kids right now. They are not. Veronica's dad, these are his grandchildren. He's not going to, okay, I suspect they will be champions for those kids. And I worry about the other two, the 16-year-old and all that, because we don't know their background, but we got to hope in the same way that there are people that love and care for them and are going to be standing up and being their champions also. And
well, we heard from several sources, and this is new, that Paul Grice was called in. He was actually put into custody at one point and questioned by the police, and then he was released. Why exactly he was released, we don't know. Apparently, they didn't have the evidence to keep him. And talking to that neighbor again and his landlord, he says that Paul Grice is a nice man, and he thinks that people need to hold off on judgment right now. Listen to what he said about that. Did you know Paul Grice?
Yeah, I know of him, and he has a young family, very nice guy. He's the kind of guy to come up and shake your hand.
What that's saying there, young family. So there's more children involved in this, and that's why it's important that we don't just automatically start pointing fingers. Let the law do what the law needs to do. Let the police do what the police need to do to find out what the truth is. Okay, it's hard because we're just seeing what we're seeing on that one piece of paper. We don't have the rest of that information right now. And but when I heard that part, I'm like, God, yeah, we got to be careful, and we have to also trust. And
I can tell you hi, and anytime I've been around him, he's just been out cleaning and working hard and taking care of cattle, and he seems to be a good guy. My understanding is that he was taken in and questioned, and apparently the OSBI and FBI didn't think it warranted arresting him, so I guess he's not in custody, so I have no reason to believe that he had anything to do with it.
Yeah, a lot of people are questioning it just because he's named in the reports and wondering why he's the one who wasn't arrested.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell you. I know he's a good man from what I know of him.
And again, we've learned from several sources, and this is new, that Paul Grice was taken into custody and questioned and then released. So apparently whatever the daughter of one of the suspects said about him being involved, they just weren't able to find the evidence of at this point. So he is out. He's in the community right now, and a lot of people are standing by him, Ashley.
Wow. Well, listen, you can be in conversations about something, but in order to be a conspirator, you have to act in furtherance. And maybe that's when if the teenager's telling the truth in the affidavits, maybe that's when he said, you know what, I'm out of here. And the reports got back to her differently. But maybe he's got an alibi. Who knows? Quick question about the next actions in this case. When are all four back in court? What do we see now?
Sorry, thought I paused that. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. Okay, he could have heard certain things. Like I said, yeah, I wish he would have spoken up, and maybe he did speak up. Maybe that's part of this, but maybe not. We don't know. We're probably going to find out at some point. I suspect. I suspect at some point we will definitely find out, but not quite yet. And I love it. I love it, Crystal. Hey, all of us have our own thoughts, and okay, as long as we always remember, thoughts and opinions are just that. They're thoughts and opinions. And I noticed, yeah, patriotism said, yeah, we need to let the law do what they need to do because they're doing a great job right now. They really are right now. So, yeah. So
Next.
here we go.
Okay, so May 15th, 9 a.m., they're going to be back in court. They are all in the
This
process
case.
of getting new lawyers. Tiffany Adams, Tad Cullum, Cole Twombly say they are all going to get private attorneys. Cora Twombly was the only one at the hearing who said she was going to want a public defender, which is kind of interesting considering Cole Twombly is getting a private attorney. But again, let's not
This.
forget, some of these folks have a lot of money, especially Tiffany Adams and Tad
Mhm.
Cullum. They've got the resources to pretty much get whatever lawyer they want, from what we're told. They own thousands of.
I'm going to stop that one right there. So interesting with this. So out of these four people, and what's your guys' thought? This is speculation time, guys. Speculation. In fact, I should get a nice, okay, a banner or something saying speculation time or something like that. So, because I know we all do it. We all do it. Okay, we just got to be responsible for it. You sure rambling? You positive you're going to bed this time? Actually, I'm going to only be on here for about 25 more minutes or so because I got to go to rehearsal tonight again. And sleep tight, my dear, and try to get some sleep. And so what's your thought? We have these four people here. Okay. Paul Grice aside, we will see what happens in the future with that case. Okay. However, these four people here, they're all in jail. Of them, the first three you see on that screen there, Tiffany Adams, Tad Cullum, and Cole Twombly, are all getting their own private lawyers. They've got the money to be able to get their own private lawyers. On top of that, we're hearing that they have enough money that we suspect they'll probably be getting, at least in some cases, some pretty high level lawyers. Okay, they've got the money for that. I mean, you got to realize this is land we're talking about. They literally can sell off acres of land and have tons of money come in. He could be a source. He could be a source. Exactly. They may have talked with him and he may actually become a witness for them or something. We don't know. Okay. And that's the thing. That's why I could never actually patriotism. It's why I could never have been a lawyer. I would have had the hardest point at time ever doing something like that. I see you took it, and thank you, my dear. But it is true. It is true. I don't know how I could ever. People have asked me before, and I'm like, I could not. I don't think I could actually be a lawyer for someone who I know is guilty. And I just couldn't do that. So even though I believe everyone deserves a fair chance at proving their innocence, I just couldn't do it. And so what's your thought here? Okay, so the first three are going to be getting their own lawyers. Cora has said that she needs a public defender. She cannot afford her own lawyer. Okay, which is really interesting. Cole and Cora are married. Why is it one of them is willing to is able to spend the money for a private lawyer and the other one is having to go for public defender? Really interesting at a case like that. Is that speaking to what we might see in the future with this case? Again, speculation zero, okay, ground zero right now. Okay, are they going to end up pointing fingers at each other? Is this the start of that? Okay, are they all going to be together, okay, with the same defense and stuff like that? It's really interesting to see this. And what really throws me is this Cole Cora bit. I mean, one of the first things that would have thought in my mind is if you're married together, you would be approaching all this together. Okay, but it don't look like that's what's happening in this case. And so let's see what we got. Anything here in chat? You're hearing the same. What is Ramblin' Rome saying that there is going on? Let me see. Ramblin'. What did you say? Okay. Oh, that's when you said you were going to bed. And sorry, I wasn't sure if there's, yeah. Speculation one is guilty and needs a better lawyer, possibly. There. It's interesting. It's really interesting because we know land is worth money. Coal, no, not coal. Tad alone is worth, from what I understand, based off of land, quite a bit of money. And land is money. Hell, you live in Hawaii, literally, my house is worth less than the land it is built on. The land it is built on is worth more than my actual physical house. That's what lands can be like. And you're talking about farmland here. So it's just, yeah, Cora's daughter is the one who told. Cora's daughter is the one who told. So there's a lot of interesting directions that this is going to take. And May 15th will be very, very, very interesting at this point. So we'll have to see what happens there. So got just 2 more videos and then we are pretty much together. So I want to move us now towards the judge. Okay. How many of you guys have heard about the judge who lost his job due to this? Really, really interesting. Started breaking actually while I was heading into rehearsal the other day. I was like, what the hell? I was watching this interview that I'm going to show you first. I'm going to show you the interview that led up to it. And I was like, ooh, wow, interesting. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, he lost his job on top of it. And also, let's see, let me pull this up real quickly. Okay, got it. So I'm going to show you 2 clips from this area. The first one is actually the interview, okay, that led up to him having to resign. Okay, and it's click and go. You haven't heard anything about this judge bit yet? Ooh. To me, this is the epitome of small town pressure because that's what it looks like to me. There may be more to this, but to me, it looks like the case that, oh, well, you know what? We don't want you talking about this, or we don't want you to, it's that control people have over. Now, this guy is the judge in a totally different county. It's not even related to this area, but he did know one of the people who was arrested. So let's go ahead and start this up.
Told me, Ashley. When's the last time you saw Tad?
This is him.
I was there when they raided it.
You were there.
Tad and I have been working together the last month in a business.
He really
and
is.
I was down there when it was raided.
What was that like?
Being with a military past in Vietnam, it brought back some really bad memories. Looking down the barrel of those rifles, it was very hard for me.
You can see the PTSD portion there. Okay, coming, as he said, coming from a military thing. Yeah, Gerald. By the way, welcome, Gerald. And this judge was there. He was visiting when they came through the doors. That SWAT team came through the doors with, okay, guns held up. He sat there with a gun at his face at that time. Okay. I think a lot of people immediately, the first thing a lot of us started thinking is, oh, he was with one of the things. That means it. No. Unfortunately, all of us know people who have the possibility of evil in them. Okay. How many people were friends with these people? Okay. And they had no idea that they had that they might have known, oh, yeah, Tiffany's a little out there right now, or Tiffany's, I'm a little scared of her and all that. But may never thought she would have ever done something like this. And also he was there at that time. And basically this interview, how it popped up is Brian ran into this guy and he's like, hey, you want to jump in my car for a real quick interview? And he said, yeah, I'm fine doing that. And that's, from my understanding, what happened.
It brought back a lot of memories, a lot of bad things.
Did you ever get a bad vibe from Tad?
No. Tad was one of the nicest, funniest. I seen him almost on a daily basis this last month. We were working together. I couldn't even believe he was involved in it.
What about Tiffany?
I didn't see her a lot. I've known her for years. Always thought she was just a little bit out in left field. But again, just never believed that they would do this kind of thing.
According to the
How many of us ever think that someone we know could do something like this? You might think, oh yeah, that person's, like he said, a little in left field. You can tell that he's like, yeah, there was something off on her, but off doesn't necessarily mean evil. Okay, which is what this is turning into, is plain evil.
affidavit, they were involved in this group, God's Misfits.
Yes.
What do you know about that?
Never even heard of it until this come up.
Oh.
Knew zero, nothing about it.
And what have you learned?
To me, and what I've heard, and I can't say this for fact, what I've heard, it's kind of like a cult. A lot of cults use God as their background to justify what they're doing. To me, that's what it sounds like.
Are they anti-government?
Very, very anti-government.
So even not knowing about the cult and all that, he knew this group was very anti-government. Okay. He's able to put those things together and be like, yeah, they were definitely anti-government. Yeah, they were definitely this. He was able to put that together with that. So very, very interesting in that bit there. Let me continue on with this.
Okay, so in a very strange twist, Ashley, I just was notified that that judge was forced to resign after doing that interview with me this afternoon.
Just blows my
The
mind.
mayor, he was appointed by the mayor, and the mayor basically said, I'm not happy you did the interview and talked about any of this, and said, you know, we want your resignation. And he had to submit a letter of resignation.
Click and go. That is, I was trying to go through, because I do agree there are lines that you really, as a nursing home administrator, for example, there were things that I would feel comfortable talking about, others that I'd have to go to my board of directors first just to make sure, okay, even if I was speaking on my own, I would do that. And there are those things you have to look at. And I suspect that was part of it. It was interesting in this case. When you first listen to that, you kind of get the idea, oh, he's from that area. And this is actually not in the same county where all of these, he's not going to be the judge in the case or anything like that. This is in a totally different district. And which was interesting to look at, because that's what I thought at first as well. Maybe they're like, wait, how can you be talking about a case that you might actually have to hear? But it doesn't look like that is the issue in this case. So it's really interesting.
Keep in mind, he didn't talk at all about, you know, anything in a
Right.
professional sense. He's just a municipal judge. He has
Thank you.
nothing to do with the case at all. Just goes back to like why people are not wanting to talk around here, how powerful
Yeah.
these suspects are, and now this
That's
judge
what
is out of
I'm
a
on.
job just for telling us that story this afternoon.
And again, that story has absolutely nothing to do with the murder or the evidence or anything, just the experience of what the arrest was. It's astounding. And I'm sorry, Brian, you're getting pelted with rain. I can't let you go, though. Did this judge know anything about Paul Grice, that fifth man that we are mystified about? Does he know him? Does he know why he wasn't arrested?
Which
Any
he
info?
does not. I'm going to stop that right there, because he does not know anything about Paul or anything like that. So there's definitely some stuff with this. It's weird. We heard, okay, so this is what kind of gets me with this is, from the beginning of this case, we kept hearing about how people were scared to speak, how everyone was shut down, they weren't talking, okay, no one, okay, it was that small town type of feel. And now that we hear things like this, it starts getting you thinking, well, this is why people are scared to speak. Now the question comes, and without hearing the next, you're going to hear in the next thing, you'll hear a little bit more on the follow-up of things. Yeah, she said, you're getting pelted with rain. I got some more questions for you. Exactly. And also, but you are trying to find out, okay, what he is a professional. What is he allowed to talk about? What is he not allowed to talk about? When is it going too far? When is it not? Um, some of the way things were handled, at least the way he's putting them forward as how they were handled next, is what makes me feel it was more like well, you know what, we're a small town and we don't want people talking without us saying it's okay. Now, of course, we're only seeing his view of things. And remember, there's two sides to every story and all. But let me go ahead and bring that last one up. And also we can watch that. And this starts okay, I've got that one set up. Let's see. And then we can talk for a few minutes before I have to get off and see what you guys all have to say about this, because it really is interesting. I don't know in this case, am I thinking in the right way or not? Sorry, I got to give him a thumbs up for that. He doesn't want to compromise the investigation. Yeah. And I think I was trying to look at what he was answering about all that. Was he saying anything that could have been considered as potentially compromising the investigation? That's when I was like, oh, well, you know what? If it's in his jurisdiction and all that, this could be and I did think that initially. I really initially was like, whoa, is he talking about a case that's in his jurisdiction? But it doesn't look like it's in his if what we're hearing here, if I hear it correctly. So actually, let's listen to that and see if that's true. It would help if I turned off the mute. There we go.
On this show, you had an interview with a local judge who was friendly with one of the suspects who's been arrested and charged with murder, was shocked at those developments. Turns out he got fired today because he spoke to you.
Yeah, it was shocking. Judge Vincent Forbes, he's a judge here.
Think how Brian feels about this, that his interview had to lead to this, and it's not his fault whatsoever. Okay, but I'm sure there's a part of him that's like, "Jeez, did I have someone cross the line? I should never say no."
In Kansas, where we are, near where the murders happened, the court hearing and the court case is all the way in Texas County, Oklahoma. So he has nothing to do with the case. He did know one of the suspects. He spoke to us. He calls us last night and says, listen, after your interview aired, the city council forced me to resign. They were so unhappy that I spoke out about all of this. I just went back to the judge's house to find out what happened. Take a listen.
I was sitting here in the house, and I got a phone call. There was a city council meeting last night, and they said, you need to come over here. So I went over there. It's only a block. I walked over, and I went in, and they were in executive session. When it was over, 3 or 4 minutes, they called me in, sat down, and they said,
3 or 4 minutes.
We've had a lot of static about your interview, and we don't like it. The mayor has absolute control over my job. I'm appointed. He can hire me or fire me. And I said, well, just fire me. One of the councilmen popped up and said, oh, you're going to turn in your resignation. He's very nasty about it. I didn't appreciate that. And I said, that's not a problem. I'll quit.
So that's interesting. Yeah, totally. If I'm hearing this correctly, guys, it sounds like it's a different jurisdiction completely. So it's not a jurisdiction issue. It's the fact that he spoke up about a case that might perhaps in the city council or whatever's eye make things look bad, I guess. And people got mad that you don't do this, because that's what it feels like. We've heard that from the beginning. People didn't want to speak up. People did not want to be the voice of what was happening. People did not want to tell on any of the small town doings. It's not just small towns. Trust me, big towns, it's possibly even worse at times. Okay. Politics, nepotism, games, shit like that. It's everywhere. And but it definitely seems to be like one of those. And then they come together for a couple minutes and he's like, that's fine. You can fire me. Now, just so you guys know, the thought process between fire versus quit. Okay. I don't know about that state, but in general, usually if you are, okay, there's a difference between firing and quitting a job. It makes a difference with potential unemployment, other issues that may pop up later, things like that. Okay, Roberta, that I could totally get. That I can totally get. Was it a professional thing for him to do? Okay, possibly not. I could see an argument for possibly not. Or possibly within a limited area or things like that. Would I have spoken up or something like that in his position? I don't know if I would have or not. Okay, it's easy for me to say one thing or another, but it is really, Crystal, the way you've got random people on the internet is one thing, but the highest in the country saying this isn't cool. Yeah. A judge can or should be able to say whatever they want. Well, my thing with that is if in America in general, we should be able to say what we want as long as it is not something that is going against the law, okay, or against, okay, an agreement we've signed. So, for example, an NDA or stuff like that. If you've ever had to sign an NDA, I've had to sign NDAs before in my life. I don't speak up on anything that's part of that agreement. There's certain things that I don't speak about because it's not right for me and what I'm doing. But as an American, I should have every right in the world to be able to say whatever I want to say as long as it is not, okay, something that could hurt someone. Okay, that's crossing, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, oh, I hurt someone's feelings. I'm talking about real lines that we know about. Okay, there are certain things like that. There is freedom of speech with that. So yeah, it's interesting on that. I find it I still say that whole thing between, well, it's fine. Fire me then. Fire. If you don't think I should have done that, I get it. You have every right to fire me. Fire me if that's what you feel you need to do. But then when the next person comes in and says, oh no, you're going to resign. You are going to write a letter resigning. Something different. Because he has a choice what he's going to do. No one can be forced to do anything. Cedere, by the way, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Cedere. Let me know if I'm not. This is the girl who no one can pronounce her name the first time. Okay, so I'm used to that. So let me know if I'm not pronouncing your name right. And also, I'm happy your phone's back though now. So, okay, let's go back to the rest of this.
You remember, Elizabeth, he talked to us yesterday about the cult group God's Misfits, what he had heard about them, also the fact that he knew the suspect, and apparently they weren't happy he was talking about it. It just goes to show why everyone is so nervous to talk around here. There's intimidation. The suspects were powerful. They owned thousands of acres of land. You know, you look at their pictures, you might not realize it, but they were powerful, influential people in this area, Elizabeth.
Yeah, and all along.
It's the classic thing that we see people and we judge them based off of looks. Satara, is it? You're thinking. We will find out. And but it is that thing, because how many of us, okay, how many of you guys in chat right now, the first time you saw Tiffany or Tad or any of the other ones, the Twombleys, okay, immediately judged them based off of their looks when it comes to money and stuff like that. Okay. I'm embarrassed to say I did that to some degree. I'm embarrassed to say that, and I know better. And yet, as we're here, these people own tons of land. They're definitely much, much more wealthy than, for example, I am. Okay, well, in Hawaii, you're land poor, but that's it. Oh, yeah. Robbie used to call me Loco May all the time. And Cristola would tell him everything. No, it's Loco Mai. It's Loco Mai. And he'd say Loco Mai. May. Loco May. And also.
Long we've been reporting, even before they made the arrests, before we discovered the bodies, there was a lot of fear around this grandmother. people just were very afraid to speak out about this family. I guess we're seeing now a little evidence of that. Thanks so much for watching. Go to...
So that gives us our little update for right now. Interesting. I'm not sure exactly. The 15th is going to be interesting as we start to see what happens. How are the four going to come together, or are the four going to start pulling apart from each other and pointing fingers at each other? That's what I'm really interested in seeing happen. I'm hoping and praying everything in my power that these kids are all safe. I know they're loved. Every one of those kids is loved. So I know they've got people who are going to be watching and keeping an eye out for them. That 16-year-old is just an amazing. That girl has a huge future ahead of her. Okay, just based off of her being a stand-up, honest person who's willing to tell the truth at her age when it's so hard to do those things to begin with. You have adults who are being manipulated into things, and she was not manipulated. That shows a character of someone that is amazing. She's really, her family should be so proud of her for that. And so I'm really hoping all that comes together. I did want to bring up Caleb one last. We talked about him at the beginning of this live, but I know we have a lot more people here right now, and I did want to at least pull this back up. Caleb, again, we don't have a lot of new updates, but we do have one big update. And that is that we are hearing from family now that there is a potential witness who saw him at 3:40 a.m. We were talking about this earlier. This 3:40 a.m. person said he was driving to work, something he's been doing for like almost a decade, from my understanding. And he saw a man who looked just like Caleb walking a small dog just like Jenny, the little dog that we saw in the videos. And at that time, it was underneath an overpass at 3:40, which would mean our timeline is different than what we're thinking of. The police know about this. Many of the family, not all the families, some of the family, extended family members do not believe this is a valid witness. However, many of his family members, including his father, believe this is a valid witness. Police know about this. The police do have his computer and are going through his computer. So hopefully that will help get us. Their concern right now is this. They think he is not in, if he's still with us, and I hate using those words, but if he is no longer in Corpus Christi. He is further out, whether that is due to trafficking, whether that is due to he himself, whatever the reason is, it's not in Corpus anymore. As that is going on, San Antonio Search and Rescue has stopped their searches in the area. The official organized searches have lightened up almost to the point of being gone at this point, until there's a new possibility coming in. If they have new stuff coming in, they will pop back in there and do all that. Unfortunately, San Antonio, Texas area, there's so many missing people, and they need to be searching for a lot of people. So that's why San Antonio Search and Rescue, it's important for them to step back at this point and look at other things going on. You do have to take everything into play. And I'm hoping the police are looking into all this stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of people, again, I'm going to say this because a lot of people keep coming to my videos saying, oh, what about the friends? What about the friends? Law enforcement has cleared all the friends, all the roommates. They cleared the Uber Eats driver. Now, as for doors, there's 2 doors to this house. Okay, one is on the back door. That's where the Uber Eats was dropped. The dog, when they left, usually it was on the front. And so as for for tips and all, right here, we've got 2 phone numbers right here. We got 361-826-2950, or the other number underneath, but the one they're really pushing is the alternate phone number if anyone has any information. And so I did want to cover him one more time because this is someone who is still missing. Okay. Jillian and Veronica were moving forward. We're looking at justice now. Now we are looking at justice. With Caleb, we're still trying to find Caleb. We need to find him no matter where he is. He has a family who wants him to come home, no matter what that looks like. Okay, they want him home. And so I wanted, are they hard to see, the numbers? Yeah, that's my big issue. Let me see real quickly. I'll type them into chat for you guys real quickly. And then you call, let's see, 361-826-2950 with any tips. Okay, there we go. Okay, there you go. And also, if anyone has anything, please just call them up on that. So, and I'm going to keep following Caleb's case because a lot of people are asking for updates with Caleb. If you guys have any cases you'd like to see us cover here, please let me know. Especially if those are cases that we're trying to get focused on right now. At some point, when I find I have a little bit more time, I know there's a lot of people who want to cover cold cases, and I haven't had a lot of time to add in cold cases. Maybe some point in the future. Aha, there's Christola. Jinx, exactly, girl, Jinx. And also, I'm going to head out for rehearsal, though, right now. We had our first run-through yesterday, and the show's coming in at 2 hours straight, which was wonderful. But tonight we go back to working on a couple more scenes. So the fun begins again tonight. Gerald, this is definitely another mystery. Either he left on his own or someone. Yeah. I hate to say it, but yeah. There's a lot of possibilities in this case. On Wednesday, we kind of did a poll to see what people thought. And there is the potential, did he get in touch with someone on the internet that was just no good? Did he go on his own? Did someone hit him? And then oh yes, I can patriotism. I will update you guys on that one because I do have an update on her. Actually 2 updates real quickly. But with this case here, a lot of different possible, a lot of different, and that's the problem. The longer this goes, the more we tend to speculate. And in the end, we got to find him. We just got to find him. And updates on cases, and thank you, Patriotism, for reminding me of this. I did just post an update about Faye. Many of you guys may remember Faye Barbon. She is the one who went missing. Her car was seen a few days later. This was up in the New York State area. Her car was seen a little bit later, and then they finally found her car in another location. They did find her body, and it did come back. The remains did come back as hers. So we don't have a cause of death, though, in that case yet. So Faye has been found. She has a 16-year-old daughter that she's survived by. If I hear of a cause of death, I will let everyone know, because I know there were a lot of you who were looking at that case also. As for the Hawaii case, I've got good news in this case. That's why I wanted to finish with her. So thank you for the reminder. We found, okay, Shaylin, we found her. She, in fact, that night I was at rehearsal and I got a message back from her mom that they found her that day. So I'm not sure exactly what time, and she's okay. She's okay. This is the 12-year-old, okay, that went missing here in Hawaii over on the west side. So she was found, and she's safe. She's safe right now. And so please keep all of them in your thoughts and prayers also. So but other than that, that is good, okay, because we needed one like that for sure. So for all of you who are new, thank you for joining us. Especially thank you for joining us in chat. I'm one of those, I do better when I have people I can talk with. Okay, that's why I do lives rather than recorded things. I really love to talk story with you guys. So I really appreciate y'all when you pop in and say hi and share your thoughts as to what's going on. So thank you guys so much. I will see you guys. Oh, definitely. Okay, I'll do that while I'm doing this next step. Okay, as long as I keep my window open, we should be good. Okay, talk to you later, guys. Bye bye. Aloha, mahalo, and I will see y'all later. Aloha.